Check, 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 check. Good morning. Guys, tuning in today. We got a lot going on in Bitcoin. Share this around as fast as you can. Urgently share this with your friends. Bitcoin's mooning. Might be a pullback. We're going to talk about losing streaks. We're going to talk about volatility. We're going to talk about managing your psyche, what to do and what not to do when you are on these losing streaks. We'll touch on Bitcoin a little bit too, touch on the markets. Big news coming your way. Discussing Bitcoin, discussing losing streaks, managing your trades, managing your psyche. As usual, Emma and I are going to be speaking to you today. Emma's going to be monitoring the chat. Hype it up. Say hi to Emma. Say good morning. And let's get this started in 2 minutes. All right, guys. Urgently, we need to chat about Bitcoin. Share this around to your friends really, really quick. Emma's monitoring chat. You guys can ask your questions as we go. Let me move that camera around there. As we go, ask your questions in the YouTube chat. She mostly monitors those. She also monitors on X and other handles there as well. So we're streaming everywhere currently. Most of the chatter is in YouTube. We're going to be talking about losing streaks today. But first, guys, we need to look at the big elephant in the room, and that is Bitcoin. Boom, right on the chart right there. Guys, Bitcoin, everyone's wondering, and it's hilarious. Ryan is not here to see the shift. I am officially a Bitcoin bull again. The one day that Ryan is not here, Ryan's out sick today, unfortunately. And so we're going to just discuss, why am I a Bitcoin bull now? Why was I a bear in the past, and what can be changed if we do switch back to bear? Because I do like to flip-flop a lot. This is Bitcoin on Coinbase. If you look at different charts, you're going to notice a little bit different charting. The monthly gained on, what was this, Oanda, but we care about Coinbase and we care about futures specifically. So previous month, we had a difficulty getting that over that new high. However, with the Trump election winning, that was exuberance into the market. Everyone's FOMOing in. Everyone believes that Trump is going to be the savior of Bitcoin and the economy. So everything's been going well. And we wanted to wait until after the election before we got into any positions, right? So now we're seeing the weekly close super well. That's a beautiful close, way beyond those levels. The only concern that we may have is if that comes back down and then closes back within this range. If it closes back within that range, we're probably looking for a retest and continuation back down. That being said, it does not look very likely at the current situation. Currently, we are pulling back on the daily. That's perfectly fine. Being bought up super, super easily, guys. On Bitcoin rallies of such excitement, it is possible to have pullbacks of up to about 25-30%, guys. So that's a bit deeper than you might be expecting. It is possible to do this on really, really volatile rallies, and I suspect we're going to be seeing that. It's going to be coming up even further. Currently, we're showing the 4 hour showing some bearish signs right now, guys, but that is very, very good for Bitcoin. Look at the NASDAQ. You're going to see something similar. NASDAQ, here we go. Something similar on the NASDAQ. We have broken those all-time highs on the NASDAQ just as well. Beautiful for everything in the tech space, guys. And same sort of deal, right? Monthly was closing fine, right? But the weekly last week was a bit bearish, right? We weren't able to make those highs, really bearish, but then markets completely destroyed by that election results. The thing that is going down is gold, guys. We're seeing every gold trader on Maven, and I suspect other prop firms as well, getting absolutely decimated, guys. They're trying to buy the longs. Gold has been rallying for what? All year long. For the past 12 months, it's been rallying straight up. And everyone's been trying to catch the dip. And it's just dipping. So that's going to break us into our topic of the day. Losing streaks. All right. Emma, if there's any questions that pop up that have to do with losing streaks, or let's allow people to talk. I know people are going to be excited about Bitcoin and the markets here today. Let's allow some good questions on there too. And if you do happen to see anything, just pop it up on the screen and interrupt me, because I like to ramble, guys, and ask your questions along the way. First of all, we got a topic. How do we reduce the losing streaks, guys? We might want to give me some examples in the chat that you might have that helped you reduce your losing streaks when you're on a losing streak. Now, here's a couple things that I came up with. Is personally, I like to really be having a good mental state, and having losing streaks really messes with my mental state, and it makes me feel like crap. It makes me feel like I'm a bad trader. If I go on a losing streak of like 5 trades in a row, I feel like I'm a bad trader and I suck and I should never trade again, right? And so I personally like to trade very, very low R setups, like basically even risk to reward sort of deals. I don't personally trade too much R, but that's how I would advise people to more trade if you're trying to really promote your win rate. And the win rate is going to be something that's really, really highly important for managing those losing streaks. Now, guys, there is a chart somewhere that I'm not going to bother pulling up right now. But the reality is, if you have something along the lines of a 50, I believe a 50% win rate, okay, you can very easily go on losing streaks of maximum losing streaks of 10 losses in a row at some point, right? So you're going to need to be able to manage 10 losses in a row. You have to reduce the risk you're trading with per trade, first of all, so that you're not going in a massive drawdown, because that's really going to be the your account. And that's going to be really bad for your psyche, causing even more destruction. So I'm shooting for 70%. I really want 70%. How can we manage to get that 70%? Because then that 70% chance means you're probably not really going on too many losing streaks that are above 5 losses in a row. Much better for the psyche. 5 losses in a row is going to be about the limit of how bad you're going to be losing. Better for the psyche, better for recovery. If you are a trader that trades with really, really high R, you're going to have to be able to manage your losing streaks perfectly well. That's not my expertise. And maybe you should talk to somebody better. Maybe Louise. She is our in-house psychologist. So you can put that and maybe go on YouTube channel, figure out the advice and psychology. But I'm not going to do it. Make any changes to your trading style while experiencing losing streaks? Good. And then this is the question that I wanted, right? Because that's the next topic. So, in terms of changes, there are a couple things you can do. One is I like to possibly reduce my risk. If I'm going on a losing streak and I keep losing, then why are you gonna keep trading the same volume, right? Let's say you want to set a rule in your mind. You say you go on 3 losses in a row. Well, now how about you lower your risk by 90% until you get your mojo back, right? Until you don't have any attachment to it anymore, because we all know, guys, losing streaks are very mentally exhausting. So you're going to be more emotional, and you're going to make worse decisions, and you're going to mess up even more, causing a further losing streak. So instead, what you can do, 3 losses in a row, lower 90% risk. Now you have no emotional attachment to it anymore. Worst case scenario is, you start losing little bits. Best case scenario is you start trading profitably again, right? And you don't have emotional attachment. You recover with time, and you recover with consistency again. Okay. And then that way your mind starts getting back to normal. Do that for a couple of days, even if you want. Okay? Until you're back to normal, until you don't have any emotional attachment to that losing streak that you just had. That's our psyche side of things as well, diving into it.
Yeah. Speaking of psyche, someone was asking if when you're on a losing streak, how much of a significant role do you feel it plays in personal lives?
In personal lives?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I've discussed a couple times on the stream here. I really like to block my days because I used to trade 12 hours a day, right? And if I entered into a trade and it was early and I started losing and I had 3 losses in a row in that day, and I was just like, holy crap, the entire day would be ruined. First of all, for trading, I'd go on a losing streak and I would be messed up. And then I wouldn't be able to enjoy life, right? I wouldn't be able to enjoy spending time with my friends. I wouldn't be able to actually focus on work, right? And I would be focused on how much of an idiot I was earlier in that day. Now, when I block my days up, I have 2 hours of trading in the morning, and then I do my whatever 8 hours of Maven sort of deal, right? I do creative video work in the evenings, and then I do socializing and exercise and whatnot in the evenings as well, right? Things are blocked up in organized compartments, right? So that way, when you're done trading at a certain time, you always consistently, in a habit, over and over and over, your mind checks out from trading. And eventually you won't think about trading unless it's during that 2 hours per day, right? And that's going to be a good way that you can manage that so that you don't mess up your personal life.
Mm-hmm. There's another question that came through about when you're seeking external mentorship during a losing streak, just to kind of try to get you back in your groove. But how can traders integrate that without completely compromising their own trading plan and philosophy?
Yeah, it's a huge problem that traders have, guys. You go on a losing streak, you say, hey, this isn't working anymore, and then you go and try to find a solution, which is finding a new strategy that works. Guys, you need to first of all understand that the strategy you're using is probably good enough to work, right? You just need to adapt it somehow. The strategy I used to trade, and I have literally just posted earlier today to Twitter my past months of trade data, right? I literally only trade, okay, what direction is it going? And then I'm going to buy on the horizontal levels. That's it. There's no strategy, right? And you can make anything work. That is the most simplest strategy ever, right? And you just adapt that, right? So the reality is, if you're making something super complicated, that's going to mess you up, right? And then you're going to get confused, first of all. You're going to get confused in how you even trade. So keep it relatively simple, and then just keep adapting it, right? Find something that works with your style, and then, again, keep adapting it, right? Jumping somewhere else is going to make you start over again. And this is why there's a little bit of a trick in the trading industry, right? So you keep thinking that there's this new method that's going to catch it for you, and then you're going to start over again, start over again, start over again. Every 3 months, you're a brand new trader, basically. But you're starting with some new style, right? Stick to one thing, figure it out, do it for a year. And then if it doesn't work for a year, next, right? You can really apply to that, right? You don't really need external mentorship.
Yeah. Do you have any other opinion on external pressures? Someone was saying that external pressures usually influence them the most and cause losing streaks for them. Is there a way to ignore or deal with those?
Oh,
For example,
yeah,
someone screaming about Bitcoin being bearish when it
oh
goes
yeah,
bullish.
yeah. I was thinking, mom's calling me for dinner and I need to go away from the screen. But yeah, if I'm screaming that Bitcoin's going to be bearish on Twitter and making you guys freak out, thinking that it's going to crash, and it changes your opinion, that's a bad issue. You need, personally, I don't look at anybody's thoughts ever. And that has done really good for me because it does persuade you. I don't know the last time I've ever even listened to somebody else's ideas on the market, because it makes no sense to me. It could make sense to them, and they could have some sort of strategy. But for me to try to pretend like I understand why they have a reason, it's going to make no sense because they have a lot of different data than I have, right? Mm-hmm. So whatever you've come up with is the only thing that you can go based off of. Otherwise, you're just throwing darts against a wall, right? And it's random at that point, right? Yeah.
So it's somewhat about sticking to your own guns, and also, I guess this has to do with emotion as well, because sometimes people see things that they're like, wow, well, this person's saying this, and you get an emotional response, and that's what causes you to react. So I guess it's also kind of about training yourself not to emotionally react to external pressures as well.
Yeah. With the external pressures is you need to be confident in what you're doing. And the reality is you're only being persuaded because you're not confident, right? You don't know what's going to happen. So you're bouncing back and forth. It's the same idea where you're bouncing between strategies. So you don't know that the strategy works yet. So it is a little bit of a tricky space where if you are new to trading and you're still trying to find your edge, then you do need to experiment a little bit and trust what people are saying and listen along to see if they're relatively consistent, right? And if they're relatively consistent, you can start learning little bits of ideas from them. But once you've gotten that traction, right, and you start liking the snowball effect that you're creating with yourself, stick to that lane, and then don't listen to other people, right? And then just keep working on your own mind, because you have to get your ideas from somebody first of all. And then once you narrow it down your own ideas deeper and deeper and deeper.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, someone says, unless John calls the markets, but their name is Jonathan. John, is that you? Are you?
Yeah.
Are you hiding out in our chat?
Unless John calls the markets. Yeah. So far, he's been 100% correct with his calls. Yeah. He's made one call.
Mm-hmm. Therefore, so far, 100%
gold down,
correct.
Bitcoin up. Good call.
Yeah.
Thanks, John.
Speaking of Bitcoin, there have been several questions about Bitcoin in the chats. Yeah. People are wondering how long you think it's going to be bullish. Yeah, they're wondering if you think it's going to stay up for months, if this is a shorter term thing.
Yeah, guys. So let's get a little bit of a speculation that makes no sense, but let's do it for the fun of it, okay? Because there's a lot of factors that come into where the Bitcoin market's going to play and end and what that jazz is, right? Guys, every single time, the reality is, no matter how much, let me get rid of that. Okay. No matter how much more hype is coming into the market, no matter how many new technologies are coming into the market, you are going to see the same trend happening, right? You get exuberance, right? And then you get less exuberance, right? And then you get even less exuberance, right? And that's what happens as adoption comes, right? So you are looking at, I predict no more than 150K, right? Because that would make no sense off of the bottom of the previous. Let's do this. Sorry. So it's a little bit more accurate. Okay. So you had, you know, let me make this even more accurate so you guys can see maybe where's the bottom of that first cycle, and you can kind of see how it scales, right? Maybe right around there, 2,300-ish, right? 2,300%, 1,600%. What would you think? Probably, you know, maybe around nearly 200K, maybe something like that. The growth rate is going to lower and lower and lower every time. You guys might say, hey, institutional investors are coming in, retail's coming in. They've been doing that the entire time, every single cycle, for sure. ETFs coming in, doesn't matter. That's just what allows it to create this new cycle now. That's all it does, right? Because we do need more volume even to get in here, right? So if I would look for a top, I would be looking for getting out right around 150K personally. Because what's the difference between 200K and 150K, right? It's not going to be a big difference. It is for sure not going above, you know, double that, basically. It would make no sense, because that would mean that the market now is more bullish than previous cycles, which doesn't make sense. It can't make sense. It's never done that in the history of ever. And any new adoption technology, it always gets smaller and smaller and smaller each time. And in terms of the most immediate action, I suspect that there will be a pullback right around somewhere right now. And it could be happening right now, but somewhere around here, just below 100K, probably pull back, retest of that, and then go. And that's I think that's basically going to be the market. That's my prediction based off of pretty much nothing. But it's fun, guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So moving away from Bitcoin and back to strategy. Someone asked, and I find this funny because you talk about this a lot. You talk about health and well-being and what you're eating. They asked, do I need a better strategy or just better snacks to fuel my brain?
Guys, I will tell you this. My brain works so much better when I eat proper food. I get proper sleep. I don't drink alcohol, you know. All of these things, everyone preaches it, and it is so freaking accurate, right? One of the major things that that surprised me is, if I eat pasta yesterday, I will be dumb today. And that's a really funny one I noticed. So pay attention to the things you eat, and then notice how your brain works the next day. I feel pretty good today. I didn't eat any garbage yesterday. So you'll notice the next day how well your brain works. And if you stay consistent like that, you're actually going to be a better trader. Surprisingly. Yeah. The less you have to think and panic, and if you're tired, you're going to have struggles.
Yeah. And everyone reacts differently to things as well. You kind of have to know your own body.
Totally. Well. So. Yeah. So this is not going to be me preaching my, paleo sort of diet, but a lot of people love carnivore. A lot of people love vegetarian. A lot of people love paleo. The thing that does not work is going to McDonald's.
I think we can all agree on that one. Yeah.
It makes you dumber. It makes you dumber for sure, is all this processed foods. And I don't think there's a single person that says, hey, I perform better when I'm lazy.
Yeah. What about hitting the gym?
So there's an interesting factoid here about the gym, is if you want to improve your brain, what sort of brain exercises would you do in order to make yourself smarter, right? And the answer is going outside and having physical exercise. Funny enough, physical exercise is the most important thing for brain health. The most important thing you can do to keep your brain functioning properly is to not do anything with your brain and go and lift some weights.
So beyond this, someone asked how many losses do they need before they can officially claim that they're building character?
Yeah, building character. I love Bailala. You got the best questions. You're just nonstop with them too. How many losses? I think you need to blow a substantial amount of money, is what it is. I think you need if for me it might have been in Canada sort of thing. The number that's coming to my mind, I think, was 10K, which is about the average person's salary. I think is about 5K per month, right? So 2 months' salary, right? And I think that is the definition of becoming a trader. Is having trader character, is being motionless after losing 10 grand.
And that's actually an interesting point because someone brought up earlier if losing streaks feel different when you're trading like demo versus like your own capital, and just kind of how that can impact your trading.
Okay, guys, let's jump into a little bit of psyche there then, hey? The psyche side of the losing streaks. So talking about the difference between demo and live. Well, what I do when I trade live is I posted on Twitter. This is hilarious. I posted on Twitter, treat trading like a hobby, right? And everyone got super, I think that's hundreds of thousands of views. Everyone was super pissed. If you treat it like a hobby, you're never going to take it seriously and you're never going to make money. Well, the funny thing is once I started treating it like a hobby is when I started making real money, right? Because the difference in psychology is you don't mind those losing streaks. You don't even pay attention to the losing streaks. I couldn't even tell you when I had lost. Well, if you had asked me, or how many losses I've had in a row, because it doesn't matter. I'm just having fun playing a game, right? So playing a game that the game is to perform the best possible, right? So if that's how you approach the market and you treat it like this side quest to your actual life rather than like this is what I do, right? That's really going to help with your losing streaks because you're not even going to pay attention to them. And then everything that I've got written down right here is meaningless. This entire talk is meaningless if you can capture that one thing, right? So with demo, back to the topic, with demo environment, you don't care. It's for sure you don't care. And this is why people perform better on demo trading. So what you do, trade with an amount of money you don't care about, right? Simple. And then once you start accumulating money on that, now you don't care as much bigger money, right? And you just kind of scale it slowly, treat it like a slow-paced hobby that you're just trying to perform, right? And eventually it's gonna do you well. When I started cooking as a hobby is when I started making the best food. Boom, Jonathan, you got 100% accuracy with your calls, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I thought it was quite interesting when people blew up at you for you referring to it as a hobby because it is a hobby, but a hobby can also be a career.
Yeah.
It's not mutually exclusive.
Exactly.
So,
I got a lot of hate for that.
You did.
For saying that you should do this in your spare time and have a job. Basically is what I'm saying. Guys, now the great thing about this is, do you have other hobbies? Emma, what's your hobby? What do you have another hobby?
What are my hobbies? Oh, you don't like my hobbies, though.
No, just say a hobby.
I read 2 books when I was on the plane. I was reading.
Okay. How much did those books
I like
cost
doing
you?
things like reading and stuff.
Yeah, how much did those books cost you?
Nothing.
Come on, give me a number so for the point.
No, they didn't cost me anything.
I'm making a point here. Okay.
Let's say if I was going to buy a solid book of like substance or something, it might be $20. Yeah.
There you go. $20. Okay, you bought 2 books, $20 each, $40. You just spent $40 just for your hobby, which produced how much money for you?
Nothing.
Exactly.
It's only knowledge that you can like potentially.
So here's the interesting thing about trading, guys. If you treat it like a hobby, well, you now spend $40 on a challenge, or what? 2 Maven challenges. Boom, $20 each, $19, right? And you've just learned some knowledge based off of your trading environment. And guess what? There's like a 10% chance you randomly trade, you'll get a payout.
Yeah.
If you just randomly trade, you'll get money back, right? That's just a random number I posted out there, but that percentage doesn't make sense. But guys, you're going to learn, and eventually you're going to start making money, and this hobby is going to start making you money for you, and then you can turn it into a career.
Mm-hmm. And you have to start off with it being educational. Like anything, it's educational. You're learning, you're becoming a master of it. It takes time. It takes a long time. But
yeah.
Someone says knowledge is power. Yes, true.
So, guys, let's go a couple more questions maybe, and then let's wrap it up. I didn't have a whole lot here for you. I got a couple more notes. What not to do is when you're on a losing streak is the two obvious ones are risk more. So what we want to do is start risking less. We don't want to start risking more and martingaling in so that we cover the loss, because eventually you're going to blow your entire net worth. Then you're going to become a gambling addict, and you're going to sell your house or your firstborn daughter or something like that to the casino, right? So that you can make it back, right? And we don't want your house, thanks. So the next thing, trade more. Same idea. You're putting too much risk on the table. And the final is, you want to make sure you're not just pouting all day, right? And this is what's common, and this is what we're talking about earlier in the day is, if we're on a losing streak, it's going to ruin your whole day, right? So you need to have these methodologies in place, like time boxing your day so that you can move on, you can forget about it, or you have to be detached from that amount of money that you're trading with. Otherwise, you're going to ruin your day. You're going to ruin other aspects of your life, right? You don't want to ruin your relationships. You don't want to ruin your actual job that you're currently working, right? And if you aren't working, then this is your income. So you're gonna really mess yourself up. So you can't be trading with a significant amount of your money. Otherwise, you're gonna destroy it all. Emma, let's finish off with a couple bangers.
Okay, let's see what I can find. This one has already been answered. Oh gosh, they're all coming through at once, of course. Yeah. Someone earlier actually said that they've been working on a strategy for like well over a year, and they feel like it's worked for them for well over a year, but the last 4 weeks, nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah, last 4 weeks, it has not been working for them whatsoever. Do you think that's a market response, or do you think that's just they have to be adaptable and change their strategy as they go?
I would first ask, there's a couple things that could be happening here.
Yeah.
Is there a specific pair that you've been trading that has only been going up or down? That's the first question. Is there a reason why the market is different now over the past 4 weeks, right? Because if you, for example, looked at gold, right, GC, right, gold futures, right, and hey, I wonder how many weeks this has been. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe. This is my first thought: is you're trading gold. And the past year you've been profitable. Holy crap. Well, you bought a year ago and then you held, and now you've not been making money. That could be a problem, right? So that's a very obviously silly one, right? And major economic changes, as well as, you know, the NASDAQ and Bitcoin and things like this. If you were range trading Bitcoin, right, for the past year, and now it's just exploded, what are you supposed to do, right? So you need to be able to apply this to any time frame, right? Any pair, because it should work anywhere, right? And there are basically two different types of markets: is there trending or there's sideways markets, right? And if, first of all, if you only work in a, so here's let me pull this back so you can see my face. Beautiful. Okay. If your trade strategy only works in a trending market, well, you first need to recognize, okay, when is it not trending anymore? And you need to get out now, right? Because that's the thing with trading, is it's not necessarily consistent all the time. You need to wait a lot of time, right? Or jump to a different market, right, that is trending in the direction that you are able to trade, okay? And if you're range trading, again, the same methodology applies. Is how do I determine when I'm not in a range anymore, right? And then stop trading, right? And that's going to come into the psyche thing. And you could apply some sort of rule, like I've gone on a 3-loss losing streak, and I'm going to stop and reevaluate and check to see if it's not trending anymore or ranging. But for a 4-week long losing streak after a year of profit, That's all I can really suspect is you've been in some sort of major event and it's shifted now because of the recent changes. So you need to evaluate what sort of trading style you've been trading.
Yeah.
Good question.
I've got a couple other questions here as well. One is just after a losing streak, what are the best steps that a trader can take to reassess and adjust their risk management strategies?
Sorry, say it again.
Sorry. Someone is asking how, after a losing streak, what are the best steps that a trader can take to adjust their risk management strategies?
Yeah. So I think we talked about this before. One, set up a walk away rule, right? So every time you sleep, you reset. Basically, that's how it works. That's the rule. I don't make it. God does, right? So you sleep, new day, everything's brand new. So you don't care anymore. Okay. After a certain point, stop trading, right? Block your day. Block your day. You only allow a certain amount of hours. You only allow a certain amount of trades, right? Reduce your risk is another one. If you are on a 4-week losing streak, right, like Buddy said before, then we want to reduce the risk by 90% until you're not on that losing streak anymore, right? The third one is, you need some sort of mindfulness, relaxation, calm yourself down, walk away for a while, do some reading, meditation, breath work. Louise will be very helpful with that. We're going to have her back in December, and she's going to help us with some more breath work. And guys, that is the broadcast. Maventrading.com. If you want to pick up yourself a prop firm challenge, you can get all the way from $15 at the very lowest. Prop firm, you can trade with real capital. Real simulated capital. I mean, real volume. I mean, volume is capital. Simulated capital. And we do this every single Tuesday, 9:30 a.m. PST. That is 5:30 currently in the UTC time zone. Or is that a time zone?
Nope,
UTC
it is.
time zone.
Well, yeah, it's 5:30 UTC. Yeah, that's correct.
So
I'm in that time zone right now.
Yeah. Okay. Emma is doing a little traveling here, so she's going to be the winner picker again. But from London this time, she's sitting in a hotel room.
You know what? I am using who you complimented. They are going to be the winner because
Balala.
so you have picked this time.
Balala?
Yep.
Nice. Okay. Congratulations, Balala. You've won a $50,000 Maven Trading Challenge. Next week, we're going to be doing another space. I forgot. Let's look at the topic. Over trading. So very similar with losing streaks. Over trading. We're going to touch on another pain point that you guys might have in your trading environment. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. See you next week.